was just waiting for the studio managers meeting to wrap up and for one of our speakers to come down, so we'll try and try. Oh, what a meaning. So tonight we've got a panel that's talking about their experiences from the GDC this year, so just gone in March. But the reason why we're using this panel, this session, is because we want to know certain things about the GDC and who wants to go and what you'd need to get there and what you'd get out of it and what you need to do before you even think about it, how much money you need to save, all that sort of stuff. So we're putting together a sort of an initiative called the Road to GDC 2016. And the idea is that we... actually, can you guys hear me at the back? Is that all right? Okay. So the idea is that if you know that you're going to be able to find support to get over to the GDC in San Francisco every year, you can kind of plan for it, which means you can think about beefing up your portfolio or starting your studio or even just saving money for a ticket and all that sort of stuff. So this is the first of those kind of external discussions, and I'll be sort of floating around talking to people, seeing if they would like to be involved in that sort of thing. So this is a way for us to sort of kickstart that initiative. And there will also be, one of the things that we're aiming to do is a social event for Kiwis over at the GDC every year under a sustainable model. It has happened in the past, but it's a little bit shaky trying to put it together, so that's why we're here. So we've got our panel today, I'll start from the opposite end, Farah, who's an AUT student. We've got Alexey from Frogshark, who you might know from the game Sortie, which is here every month. Joe Chang from Eyemobi, and you may know his game Phantasmal. I didn't really say it, maybe people don't know, but Phantasmal was just released on early access about a week ago.
Yep, that's right.
On Steam, and also Sortie was revealed to be released on Xbox at the last GDC. Was that right?
Yeah.
PAX, yeah, right. And then also closest to me, we've got Matt Gatland, who is one of my favorite people in the world because he's a little bit odd and on the side, which is great. And all four of these people went to GDC this year, and I think all four of them have slightly different perspectives of how it went. So what I'm going to do is, if you see on the screen here, there's a YouTube link, but the easiest way to do it is just to go on YouTube and just look up Frogshark's channel. And what Alexey has done for us is very kindly got some of these guys together, plus a few other people from Frogshark, and done an hour? Just an hour-long discussion about all the stuff that they thought about the GDC. So please go along and have a look at it. The point of this panel is not to recreate that. In fact, the questions that I'm asking is kind of specifically things that they didn't talk about. So the idea about this is that each one of them is going to have a kind of a juicy question fired at them. We're not going to have a QA session. They're around here to talk afterwards. So if you want to know more, you can go up and talk to them during pizza. Something smells like it's burning.
It's pizza.
So you may notice that I've got 4 dice on here. Did you get to even go bring it up? No. So what I'm going to do is, to decide who goes first, we're going to give all of them a colour, and because you can be brown, Alexey, which means that Farah, I'll put you as the white one, and you can be the blue one, and you can be the green one. I'm going to roll it on the screen. So we're going to, because Alexey and Joe's questions are very similar, we're going to add their scores together, and we'll see. Highest will go first. Oh, that's very clearly Joe and Alexey.
You green.
And then blue-green. I can't remember which one.
No, brown. Oh, okay, you're brown.
Oh, no, yeah, so then green and white. Okay, so then Farah, then Matt. Great, that's actually the order I have written down. So the question I have, so this, Alexey and Joe are kind of in a similar sort of level in their development, and also kind of in the same sort of indie space. So a lot of the questions are kind of transposed between you, so I'll kind of bounce back and forth. So in the Frogcast, which is the name of the Frogshark podcast, it sounded like, and I'll start with you, Alexey, you guys were stretched really thin. And there were 3 of you, correct?
Yep.
At the event. You know, and what I felt like, is it really just a kind of like a matter of chasing your tail? As in, if you had more people, would you just try to do more? Because the thing is, Joe, how many people did you have?
We had 2.
You had 2. You guys looked just as stressed as each other. so
like
you know, like if you'd had more people, would you just have done more? Or, you know, do you feel like you could have had a certain amount of people that would have allowed you to be comfortable and do everything that you felt you needed and wanted to do?
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we're in a slightly different spot to Joe because we went. GDC highlight for us was the second day of the GDC. That's when we had our Microsoft private press event, where they put together like a room full of all the big name sort of websites and journalists and stuff to come and check out all the new Idea Xbox games that are going to come out in this next sort of batch. So our overall purpose to go to GDC was just that. And we kind of like assumed that we were also exhibiting at the GDC floor. I don't know why, but we weren't. So we only like closer to the time realized that we weren't. And one thing we missed out on is we didn't apply for the IGF, because if we were to be nominated, then we would have had a spot on the show floor, which would have been amazing. So in terms of having more people to be able to do more, I'm not sure if that's the case for us, because we kind of took it easy and kind of focused on that, and didn't really need to cover the talks and visit all the sort of your casual things you go to conferences for, because all of that is online. It's just like meeting the people, meeting other developers.
And for people who don't know, that a lot of this, there's a context behind this if you go and watch the podcast or podcast or whatever. But Joe, it's a very similar question. You know, like, do you feel like you could have coordinated another person and got more out of the event?
It's a good question. I think for us this year, I think we had enough people. I think, we're a little bit different in that Alexey very much had goals of dealing with Microsoft and all the other events along with that. So for us, it was half kind of learning, half business. So we tried to attend as many useful courses as possible. We got a lot out of that. And then the other half of it was essentially attending business meetings, so with Microsoft, Oculus, Sony, etc., etc. So that was in itself was quite stressful, more because of the anticipation and wanting to do the things right. In the cases where we're actually doing demos and things like that, just wanted that to go right. So I think 2 people was good this year. But if we, like Alexey said, if we had a proper demo to do for the IGF or something like that, then we would benefit more from the people.
Okay.
Yeah, well, for us, next year will be completely different, because next year we would have released by the time GDC, by GDC, so we would go there to actually promote the release and IGF, like apply for IGF and see if that happens.
So, and Alexey, you've kind of already explained this, but I guess this is more for Joe then. Seeing on the podcast, looking at the experiences of Matt and Farah, and if you can answer this too if you want, Alexey, but do you feel like you missed the event?
A little bit. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Farah and Matt. I think they got to meet a lot of really cool people, got to go to a few really interesting events that were not just in GDC, but what was that one that you went to that was really cool? Like,
we're going to get to that.
Oh, you're going to get to that. So they got to do stuff like that, and I was just like sweating, going, "Oh my god, I'm talking to Sony next," So it was really nice. I think on the last day, that was when I was relaxed, because that was when all of my meetings were finished by 11 on the Friday, and then it was like a huge weight was lifted off. I felt I could just go and wander around the floor and look at things and just generally talk to people. I think I felt before that I was pretty stressed, and I was just not really enjoying the whole thing that much.
Okay, cool. So hang on a sec, let me check my dice. So we just had Alexey and Joe. Green was Matt, right?
Yes.
Green was Matt. Okay, so Matt. The event is a very noisy event. There's a lot going on, and I get the sense there's absolutely no way that you can experience it all.
That's right.
And in the vodcast, you mentioned that there were other things, kind of after hours, that were sort of around the event, sort of on the fringe. For those out there, such as myself, with kind of a bit more of a penchant for the fringe, the kind of weird and gritty, how did you and how would you suggest people try to find that signal and tap into it, so that when they get a chance to engage with this community, they make sure they're kind of not disappointed and get, kind of get to see that side of the coin.
Yeah, so it's true, there's a lot going on at GDC. At any point in time, there's probably like 5 different talks happening, plus the expo floor, which has 5 different things you probably want to see, plus actually talking to humans and that kind of thing. So a bit of planning is really important. I mean, I guess you could just wander around, see cool stuff, but I found a bit of planning really important. And at least for things on the program, you find out by reading the program, and you know that, for example, there's Alt Control GDC, which was custom hardware games on the expo floor. That was a must-see for me, because that's part of what I'm into. But for the other events, the sort of extracurricular stuff, I heard about a lot of them through different communities. So the Ludum Dare party was really good, and I think I got an email about that because I do Ludum Dare. In fact, I'd say that party is so good it's worth doing Ludum Dare just so you can get into that party if you're going to GDC.
Right.
For Lost Levels, I probably heard about that through following indie devs on Twitter. And I think if you're into the kind of, if you would be into Lost Levels, you're probably into the kind of indie devs who I'm into, so you probably follow them on Twitter as well. But if not,
so follow you,
Twitter,
and then follow your follower.
Basically, I spend a lot of time on Twitter anyway, so that's how I discover these things. Yeah. There are probably other channels like forums if that's how you do your game dev.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. And for those who don't know, really high tech, ad hoc, last minute change. All right, which brings us to Farah. So first of all, GDC 2015, thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, so thumbs up, right? So then GDC 2016, yes please or no thanks?
I'm already making plans.
Okay, so you're already making plans. Okay, so obviously I assume that those were going to be in the affirmative. So obviously it's a very lively event, but is there anything that you think that, so if you went back in time a year from now and talked to the past you, that you could have reasonably done in the time that you had to kind of prepare, that you wish you hadn't?
Probably take a range of the work I've done, and also one thing I would do differently is talk to more people, just go up to people after they finish their talks and just tell them and stuff. But this the spacing between each talk is it's very small, so you don't really get to hang around. You're trying to rush from building to building to make it. Did you find that as well?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there was a room for questions
the
later, the wrap-up rooms,
yeah.
So that kind of helped, but then you miss out on something else, so yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, future Farah. So a year from now, comes back in time, and she's got one piece of advice to you. Well, she's got many, but she's only got time to say one thing. So what do you think it's going to be?
Pretty much what I just said. Talk to more people.
Don't not do that.
Don't not do that.
I think that's the main thing, and especially coming from a really small country that's really far away, you kind of want to meet as many international game devs as possible. Yeah.
And in the podcast, you also mentioned that you actually offered kind of in a way 2 scholarships. To go to this event, you actually turned one down because the other one was better. So for those out there at kind of the same level, kind of in that studentship sort of area, what sage wisdom would you give to those hoping to tap into those signals and to make sure that they can kind of take advantage of that resource?
The main thing you can do is just to get involved in your local game dev community. I think that's that's what I can say.
Well, that's specific to someone in the crowd that looks at me.
Yeah. Also because you were a member of IGDA, you pay a membership fee.
Yeah.
And that's kind of you didn't just have
No, but I didn't.
Yeah, but you still explicitly apply for one of their initiatives.
Okay.
And there are many of them, for students, not just that organization specifically, but there's just many things out there that people can apply for to try and get stuff.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're not going to do questions because they're here for you to talk to in the pizza session. If you want to know more, YouTube, Frogshark's channel. Big, long hour discussion between these four and two other people from Frogshark. So one more time, please, can we have a thanks for Farah, Alexey, Joe, and... So we're going to get into the open mic session. So if you've got something to talk about, maybe you're looking for someone to work at on your project, or you're looking for work yourself, can you please just stand up and come down, line up down the side. I know some people have sent me stuff and put stuff on the computer, so we'll just deal with that as it comes.